Good afternoon to all of you. Firstly, I would like to thank panelists for accepting our invite and joining this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. We are really delighted to have you all here. To friends of my fraternity from India and who have joined us from out of India, all of you all a wonderful welcome to this webinar. This very session is organized by Association of Exhibition Stand Designer and Constructors, also known as AESDAC, to discuss future of Indian exhibition industry from 4 key stakeholders. That is organizers, venue providers, exhibitors, and people from design and fabrication fraternity. We all know already 3 months have passed without any action. And I'm sure you will agree that we are not used to it. We are even managers, and end of the day, we are supposed to be active, right? We have different messages, information from different clusters, and message around the world is changing every passing week. We also see that slowly things are unfolding internationally. India being the fastest growing market in this world, it is still under full or partial lockdown. But like every crisis gives ways to new learning, adaptability and new ways in the environment are required to get back to action. We are here to get inspired. We are here to get some sort of assurance, to get motivated and prepare ourselves to deal with what is forthcoming. We want to know how everything will unfold and turn for all of us. As stakeholders of exhibition, we are interlinked in mutual growth and growth of the economy. As we all know, exhibitions are key fast-paced momentum of economy. We are here today to discuss how soon and in what format would we be back. All this and much more will be discussed today. Let me introduce you to our esteemed panelists. We have from our exhibition venue side, Mr. Sachin Sinha, CFO, India Exposition Mart, Noida. We have Mr. Ravi Boratkar, Managing Director, Asian Convention and Exposition Private Limited. Organization manages Sitco Venue, Navi Mumbai. We have Mr. Sunil Govind, Senior Director, Bangalore International Exhibition Center. And from the organizers fraternity, we have Mr. Satyendra Mehra, Group Director, Nuremberg Messe. We have Mr. Shamal Pote, Director, National Event Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council, India. We have Mr. Kailash Murarka, Chairman, National Executive Committee, Plus Division, India. We have Mr. Jignesh Patadia, Director, GGJS. We have Mr. Gaurav Juneja, Director, Max Exhibition Private Limited. He is also Honorary Treasurer of IEIA. From Exhibitor Fraternity, we have Mr. Ramesh Babu here. He is Managing Director, Seashell Logistics Private Limited. And Mr. Swapnil Nagarkar is about to join or in some time, or he's already joined, I think. He is Senior Vice President and Business Head, Godrej Security Solutions. And from our association, we have our President, AESDAC, Bivas Biswas. He is also CEO, Amroys. And Mr. Suketu Dasadia, AESDAC Treasurer, Director, MK Designs. And it's me, Ashok Bist. I'm Joint Secretary, AESDAC. I'll be taking you through this webinar. And with me, Mr. Suketu Dasadia is helping me co-hosting this webinar. So viewers, this panel couldn't be any better than this. And we will get real and valuable insights from everyone. Now let's hear from them. To start with, I would like to go to Mr. Gaurav Juneja, Director, Max Exhibition Private Limited. Mr. Gaurav Juneja is an experienced and qualified industry professional and organizer of many shows in India and abroad. He also brought many reforms in this sector by focusing on aesthetics and extensive shows promotion campaigns, improvised services for both exhibitors and visitors. Their successful shows are from different industry verticals like textile, gifting, LED, signage, etc. Mr. Juneja, now talking about reforms, I'm sure you must be having a vision for exhibition industry. Could you please share your views on vision of exhibition industry, midterm and long term, that you can address?
Thank you, Mr. Bish. Thank you, Mr. Bish, for inviting me for this session, insightful session. Yes, as everyone sitting in this room is facing the same problems, we all are very busy event managers and we are sitting idle. Everyone is talking about virtual these days. I would say virtual is not the only solution. Let it be very clear. Yes, for the time being, we all are seeing this as an option. A lot of organizers I've seen are rushing to virtual platforms, but that's not the solution. In fact, Anand Mahindra also tweeted 2 days back. It was a very interesting tweet. A lot of you must have seen that. Let's ban this word webinars. So the physical impact or the face-to-face meeting impact will never go away. We all will see for 6 months, maybe the virtual thing will come up, but will not go away. Now, being an organizer, we also see a lot of threat from the digital part. Digital, yes, will definitely come into the picture. We will have more of hybrid events. We will have to give a lot of solution in terms of 360-degree solution to our exhibitors. We'll have to give fantastic experience to our visitors. So the visitor engagement would be a very important point. I would see digitalization, AI, that will help out to all the exhibition companies, which will they have to adopt in the near future. If I look at the stand construction and special booth designs, I would say that everyone has to focus on sustainability, because sustainability is one thing worldwide what everyone's talking about. I'm also a member of the exhibition think tank group, and even my colleague Satinder Mehra is also that. We have seen that globally, a lot of people are talking about sustainability. So I would say the bare space contractors, you have to look at sustainable options, reusable options. In the coming future, definitely we will see the show sizes will go down. We will see a decline of 30 to 40% in the decline of show size for next 1.5 years. And reusable maxima structures, those sort of things, and working toward sustainability. Now, if I look at long term, I will see that a lot of shows will go into very niche segments. The show sizes would be smaller, but a lot of new niche shows, and there's an opportunity for niche market to come up. And digitalization is the main effect, but it's not virtual. It'll be a hybrid sort of a solution. Ashok, you're on mute.
Sounds like a lot of optimization is there in your mind, whether it is in any form, size or sustainability, and technology will start playing this important role.
So my one message is that everyone is talking about virtualization, but we have to work more on sustainable options. That is the biggest thing what we all have to look into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav. Mr. Kailash, I think he wants to come up here. So we have Mr. Kailash from, he's the chairman, National Executive Committee, Plastic Vision India. Mr. Kailash Murarka is a well-known name in plastic as well as exhibition industry. As the Vice President of Region Plast Private Limited, he wields tremendous power and mobilization in plastic industry for over 4 decades. Mr. Murarka, as the past president of All India Plastic Manufacturers Association, has been instrumental in bringing thousands of unorganized sectors of the plastic industry under one umbrella. He has also been the chairman of Plastic Vision 2020, recently held in Mumbai. He is also a committee member on central and state government institutions such as Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce and Industries, India Plastic Institute, Indian Merchant Chamber, Bureau of Indian Standard, Plexi Council, Confederation of Indian Industries, Film Censor Board, etc. His opinion and views, particularly with regards to today's scenario, will always be seen with respect and conviction. Murarka ji, you are at the helm of affairs as far as plastic industry is concerned. What is the impact on plastic industry due to COVID? Is there a major setback? Or please let us know how plastic industry is gearing up, and do you think exhibitions are key to reviving the industry?
So once again, good afternoon to all of you, and thank you very much to AESDAC for considering the participation of Plastic Vision into this panel discussion. All many known phrases and stalwarts of the industry. So friends, to begin with, now fortunately, COVID-19 is a very unfortunate situation which the whole world is encountering. We have never heard before, we have never seen before, we have not even read in any history also this kind of pandemic. So it is really something to worry. But we Indians are known to create opportunity from challenges, and many things we have been learning during this lockdown. And I'm telling you, though there is very little we can help out, but I think let's look at the positive things and try to create value out of it post-COVID. Now, as we know, most of the industry owners, now I am talking from the side of exhibition organizer as well as plastic industry. So you first asked about plastic industry. So for last 1 year and more, plastic industry was having a kind of a very big eclipse. Everybody was talking bad about plastic, that ban plastics, and plastic is not good for use in the domestic purpose or anywhere else. But I mean, I should not be saying blessing in disguise, but during this whole pandemic, plastic has been proven to be a lifesaver. May it be a medical field, may it be a help to the underprivileged people or anywhere. So it has been proven that this situation was impossible to tackle or handle without the support or without the use of plastics. So as far as plastic industry is concerned, I think it will clear the bad weather and give a boost to the applications, which is a really a very value addition and easy to operate functioning. By making it plastic or by using plastic, it ease out the operations, and that's why it is more and more popular. So I would say this COVID has given this opportunity for plastic industry to clear their myths and clear the bad picture. So we, as a plastic industry people, would ponder this situation, and plus at the same time, we should be more responsible. What has been genuine concern like handling or recycling or organizing this rapid. We are working aggressively on this from our All India Plastic Manufacturers Association. We have a separate cell which has been working with all the pollution control boards and as well as Minister of Environment and Forest. So having said that, we got the advantage that people came to know that plastic is not bad. Actually, it's a clear-cut study that because of plastic industry growing, other packaging were being little or having disadvantage. So they created NGOs and they filed a lot of suits, etc. And finally, things are settling down. So that as far as plastic industry is concerned. As far as exhibition industry is concerned, my firm view is that it is going to be a weak curve kind of thing. That the way we have got completely, exhibition industry is also in lockdown. I think when the lockdown is over, there are going to be a very happy days. Maybe it will take little slow take off, but there will be a good demand of exhibitions because people, those who have been sitting without any business, without any manufacturing, without any marketing, will have hunger to sell their product. And let me tell you, not as a representative of exhibition industry, as an individual consumer, manufacturer and buyer, I am telling you nothing like exhibitions for connecting with people. People are talking about virtual thing that, okay, I mean, every day something new comes. So as of now, that is the only possibility. So we should talk positively about virtual also. We are also planning a virtual exhibition. So whatever our exhibitors are there, we are creating a platform where we will have a virtual exhibition and give service to them so that we can take advantage of virtual exhibition and participate in that and do business opportunities. And then finally, it is going to be face-to-face. So there is absolutely nothing like seeing face-to-face the exhibition, which may happen after 6 months, after 8 months, but it is going to happen. But I am advocating the third thing, which is hybrid. So it will be a mixed match of virtual as well as hybrid, as well as physical, which is going to happen. And I'm telling you, as this SDAC, I'm proud to say that our exhibition last division 2020, and you cannot imagine 20th January was the last day of the exhibition. We all were celebrating in ESCO. Nobody would have thought that within 3 months' time, there will be a 1,000-bed isolation center in the NESCO. 20th our exhibition over, and 23rd China president announces that there's a pandemic. So, but anyway, God was great. Our all supporters, stall fabricators, stall manufacturers, branding people, logistic guys, our fair management consultant, they all are the integral part of an exhibition, and without their support, no exhibition can succeed. So we really cherished in India, we are blessed with very good support from every branch of exhibition organization.
कैलाश जी, आपके हिसाब से COVID has given new life to plastic industry. And you are also mentioning that exhibition cannot be sidelined. and it will only pick up. And you have mentioned about a V curve. It will only bounce back.
100%. I'm very sure about it. There's no doubt about it.
So this Josh is what is really what we are eager to hear. Thank you very much, Kailashji. That was really good insight from your side, coming from that helm of affairs. Now we will move to Mr. Mr. Sachin Sinha. Sudeep Sarkarji is not here for some reason. Mr. Sachin Sinha, he is CFO India Exploration Mart, and having more than 15 years of experience with exhibition and media industry, where he has held highest position in finance and business operations. He is a chartered accountant, LLB, and has earned his postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Lucknow. At IEML, he has been part of venue operations team responsible for successful hosting of events such as IHGF, CPHI, Auto Expo, Print Pack, Acrex. He has also been part of various strategic expansions and capital investment made by IEML. Sinaji, we understand that MICE Alliance team has been asked by the ministry to prepare guidelines for the shows post-COVID. Any idea if it has been made, and if so, what are the critical changes to be adapted by the venues?
First of all, thank you, Ashok, Abbas, and the Association of Exhibition Stand Designers and Constructors for inviting me and making part of this distinguished panel. It's really feel this part of this industry part. Like till January, I was listening to various industry leaders and reading in magazines and journals about the success and the growth story of our exhibition industry. Everyone was very ecstatic about this. So it was supposed to growth rate more than the growth rate of the country. And there were a lot of merger acquisitions and huge investment, capital investments were going on by the different stakeholders. And we were also investing hugely with the current scenarios in the capital structure also. We were also developing this space. And I mean, both the sides, accordingly, the organizer sides were also increasing hugely. So it was a growth for everyone. But suddenly, I mean, in late February, the whole scenario got second, and there seemed to be a complete hijack of our exhibition business by this deadly pandemic. And this devastating outbreak was not only seriously affected all our social life and the global economy. I mean, it was never seen in last 3 generations. So the attack was very sudden, and probably the lacking of the necessary preparations were missing. But thankfully, if I see in these 2 months, 60 days of lockdown period, the industry participants has really, concentrated and thought of reviving the story. And I've seen many, I mean, UFI, IAC, IEIA, our domestic partners, and the other, ICBP, they have all come up with the SOPs of their own. And the government, I mean, sometime back, the government has said one very small and a very interesting acronym, SMS, which was saying social distancing, masking, and sanitizer, SMS. And the basic, hygiene story, revolves around that only. So if you see, the SOPs also talk about the barriers and the floor markings, physical distancing between the booth size for circulation, conference style layouts, crowd movements, control, and the registration control, etc. Mask for the health and safety measures. The exhibition largely they are laborers also. We are very much part of the whole story. They are undefined sector, but they are the largest chunk of the service side also, and they are partly they are unregulated also, and the risk and the control level is largely required at that level, which I feel like when we talk about the services side, and there should be a control, and I think the service providers are geared up to take this challenge and do best of the favors and best of the hygiene and standard measures for that. Sanitizers, medical service points, and the other thing, the venue sanitization, what we are doing in the venue sanitization. Venue sanitization is very much important. Also, we have been known for the services par excellence. And this time also, the service sanitization, the venue sanitization is at par. We are all the means to make this for sure. So the guidelines as of now, it has not been made mandatory. Everyone has been told to make the SOP of their own. There are some guidelines expected from the state governments also. The UB has to come up. Now the industry has not operated, not started with. The uncertainty still is there, but we think with the closure of the fourth lockdown period, some positive sign will come up, and partly the industry will open up. Thankfully, the ancillary units of the MICE sector, like airline aviation, has come up. They started operating, and uh, we soon expect the hotels also will start operating. So hotels, banqueting will start up. The conferences will come up for sure. So gradually in a stepwise process will start up, right? So once the ancillary units starts rolling, the exhibition and the setup and the constructors, everyone will again be getting the opportunities and getting involved also. So this is the time for us to prepare ourselves for the new normal. How we are preparing ourselves for the new normal, and uh, there are different SOPs and the guidelines being provided by all the institutions. If you see the globally, what's happening, the associations, the bigger associations are clubbing together and giving the guidelines also. Recently one guideline, good practices has also come up, and the three big associations tied up and they have given a detailed guidelines for operating this. So largely the issues are globally the same. Everyone is just uh, preparing themselves to come up well and be prepared to address this uncertainty. And I remember, one of the, proverbs like, either you love me or hate me, you can't ignore me. So as long as the vaccine and the medicine for this disease is not there, you need to live with it. And business has to go on, the show must go on. End of the day, the show must go on. We cannot stop and sit idle with this thing. We have to come up maybe with more control and more health and safety features will come up. And once we come up, the all the related issues that we are facing up will be largely be addressed also and will done also. So I have seen very passionate people in this industry, and I mean, I can start with my chairman, Sudeep. I have our CEO, Sudeep, also. There are, various panel members also to whom I know personally, like Satender and Mr. Juneja. I have also I have also got the opportunity to meet Mr. Raka, I mean, at one of the discussions at the board level. So these are very, passionate people in the industry, and they have really given the strength and pillars to the organization. So the resolution is definite, the recourse and the dedication and everything is there. And one more important thing I would like to add up here is, as the government was mentioning, to become Atmanirbhar. MSME, largely the SME sectors, serves the purpose of all this industry, right? Our company, IML is there. Many other, industry participants who are there, they largely fall into the SME and the MSME category. And they are facing the burn. This is the time for us to be the Atmanirbhar. Right? This is not just a political thought. Many of the listeners who are, being part of this conference right now, they are all requested to come up with real good ideas. And right there from the, if you talk about the exhibition, right there from the entry point till, the exhibitor comes, be a part of it, and then he exit. So from the entry to the exit, there are many artificial intelligence tools and the information technology driven tools that we can introduce, where the touch and the other things would be minimal, but the output would be highly effective. And one of our colleagues has just been mentioning about the hybrid nature of the agreement also. So if this is the need of the hour, we have to live with it. This is also one of the realm. And being a service provider, if you see to it, there will be many other industry partners. I've seen many other webinar hosting, companies who are coming up with very nascent and innovative ideas. We are also exploring the ideas of doing the hybrid, and I have seen UBM and the other ones also coming up. Globally, also the people are exploring this opportunity.
As mentioned
So,
by the speakers before, yes, hybrid is
yes,
also trying to take a shape in this scenario.
hybrid is one way, one of the feature. I mean, if there are 5 fingers, you cannot say that this is the smallest one, so you leave it. Rather,
Right.
you try to live with it,
Right.
right? Foster it, and definitely every opportunity has a challenge. Try to bring out the challenge out of it. Maybe if during this period you can maintain some liquidity out of it and build up more resources when the fiscal things are happening up. So it will add more value to it. It will give more oxygen to you and your company, right?
Of course.
And I mean, there have been so many laborers also who have, moved from, one state to the another. There have been a lot of exodus also of the laborers also. I don't know when the fiscal will come up.
Yeah.
The partners, the set and the constructors will also be having some sort of challenges. We have
Exactly.
been thankfully IML having been part of both the things, venue service provider as well as the organizer also, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I can visualize as to from both the sides.
Senaji,
So
yeah,
yes.
thank you. I mean, these are we couldn't wait to enter that new scenario of venues, how those will be like. We are eager to see all those guidelines, and we are eager to abide by and transform ourselves to a new format of exhibition. Thank you very much, Senaji. Suketu bhai, it is over to you.
Thank you, Ashok. Greetings to all the panelists on board. Welcome to AESDAC, sir. It is rightfully said, a leader is one who knows the way, who goes the way, and shows the way. Going further, I would like to introduce Mr. Shami Pote, Director of National Events at the GEMS Jewelry Export Promotional Council, which organizes the International Jewelry Show. He has over 20 years of experience in business strategies and implementation of sales and marketing, communications and business development across a spectrum of industries. He has been a key figure in successfully organizing top B2B trade shows. He has also served in organizations like UBM India as a director and New Media Communications as a group director. Mr. Shamalji, as far as tall building rules are concerned, IIJS is one of the best standardizing guidelines for safety and security. But the world will not be the same after what we are experiencing now. There will be a long-lasting impact on every activity that we do. What do you think would be our new addition, sir? Some guidelines you can give for our exhibitors and fabricators, please.
Thank you for inviting me on this broad spectrum. I would really like to thank Mr. Nabas, the President, Mr. Miten Palkar, the Vice Chairman, and all others at AESDAC, and my sincere greetings with regards to all my fellow speakers in this forum. Yes, you are right. It is a current new norm. As an organizer, I always felt that doing an exhibition is always like a wedding, and the organizer is the father. So he has to take care of everyone, whether he is the participant, whether he is the exhibitor, and whether all the vendors, the venue provider, everyone. So from that per se, it is very important that we look at stall fabricators and designers as stakeholders and not vendors who just come, erect the entire stall and then they move away. It is no longer like that now. I would differ sometime back that for the past 3 months we have not done anything in the industry, but I would differ here to think past 3 months has given us a lot of opportunity to learn a lot of things and to explore ourselves, to unwind ourselves on what we should be doing, what others are doing nationally, internationally. This makes us very approachable to the new theorem, to the new normal.
Right.
From the constructor's perspective, I would just like to say, COVID-19 coming up as a situation first, prefabrication is the new norm. Prefabrication is most important. Why? It has certain advantages. It is ready to build, as we all know, it is prepared. It requires less manpower when it comes to putting up the stall at the venue. It takes less time to install. Most importantly, it is less polluted. So you don't have the routine cutting, sawing, painting works happening at the exhibition. And it takes care of safety, insurance norms, which are to be adhered. So in short, I would say it helps us to have lesser manpower, do a quick job at the venue, which is a not only for the participant his stall is ready, but also for the organizer because the entire show gets ready within the given time and it's ready for inauguration. So as we always, less is more. I think that's the new mantra coming up. If it is less audience, it can be done faster, it can be done in a better way. It's very, very successful. And again, to what new should be added? This is the perspective. You rightly said IIS has been successful in creating a lot of norms and guidelines, which are not only the participants, but also to holder or vendor or stall fabricators. See, the new perspective of COVID-19 coming up, I have got something which is called as PAC. PA. So what is PAC? It is P for people, P for product, A for audio video, and C for communications. So if you look at PAC and the current scenario, this is how it looks like. It is very simple and it can be implemented. When I talk to people, stand fabricators should look at how is the type of sitting arrangement that they have to do when it comes to all contractors. Or we envisage this entire thing. Intelligence has to play a role. Stall fabricators are no longer just a vendor. You have to be intelligent and you have to pass this intelligence to all participants that you give service, whether it's a small participant, whether it's a medium scale, whether it's an MSME, or if it's a large company. The stall fabricators have to give them this gap. They have to give them information and they have to lead it ahead. So as people, how we connect with exhibitors, what is the social distance norm they will follow, what are the signages they will follow. It's easy for everyone. Similarly for visitors, where are the visitors going to stand, how are they going to have sitting arrangement for people who are on wait list, especially for the stalls, 36 square meters and more. So people caring for people, the comfort is important, and I feel stall fabricators can do a largely fair job there. Coming to the next part, product. How are you going to display your product, whether it's a display or whether it's a back wall display? From the visitors, how convenient and comfortable, yet how you can pass on the message. For audience, how you are going to plan, how you are going to systematically control it, so that the norms are ready. I feel in the new norm, as we are using a platform of audio video, same way in stock constructions, audio video have to play a key. The more better and more systematic your audio display, it will help to pass the message, and yet it will also play a soft and steady role of social distancing. Still communicate the information that you want the participant to your stakeholders, visitors. Okay. Yeah. So communications is most important part. Whether SOP, whether it's what brochures, where you are going to place, people can collect it, whether they are able to get it or not. So there are variations, just as Mr. Sinha rightly said, there are every organization, every industry is going to play a role and they are preparing their own. Similarly, while it will get standardized, I think as we come ahead and we start getting to the new norm. So my way of looking at this, we all need to get a little intelligent, and we need to be looking at service providers, especially the stall fabricators. We should be looking at as service providers to all, whether it's the organized or whether it's the exhibitor.
So it was a very well said thing, sir. And positively, you also are looking forward for proper guidelines, better guidelines from IIS to work in a very well way, sir. It was really kind of you to come and share your thoughts on this. Over to you, Ashok ji.
Yeah, thank you. Now, moving on to Mr. Swapnil Nagakar. Swapnil Nagakar is one of the senior member in the corporate world. He is Senior Vice President Business at Godrej Security Solutions. He joined Godrej in 1995 and is soon completing his silver jubilee in a single organization. During this period, he has successfully handled multiple assignments in various functions and categories of businesses and has been on a fast-track journey of growth. He is currently heading the security solutions divisions of Godrej Group. Swapnil has the ability to accelerate growth and turn around challenging lines of businesses. He strongly believes in the power of communication and networking through various platforms as an opportunity to share knowledge as well as learn. Mr. Nagakar, as an exhibitor, what do you think the response to our exhibition under current scenario, and how far is your team prepared to participate in an exhibition?
Yeah, so good afternoon to all, and thank you for giving this opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, clear.
Yeah, good. So before I come to the point related to the exhibitor, I will just give a very little background that what happens is that we belong to an industry which is the security solutions. So we are like a consumer of the exhibition, and we are also a service provider for exhibitions. In fact, we take privilege in working with the members of Mr. Shamal Pote and his team. So the thing is that, yeah, so the thing is that, basically when I'm talking about a consumer, we basically hiring exhibitions as a medium and a platform to communicate. What is important for the members to understand is that in our category, the needs of the customer are latent. So customers don't really express themselves clearly that this is exactly what they require. And hence we are in need of platforms which can actually help us to communicate this, which is where exhibitions, events, these become very, very critical kind of platform for us. And given this background, what I would like to say is that, yes, going forward, I mean, hoping that, this disruption will keep dying down over a period of time. As far as a member of an industry which has a strong need of exhibition as a platform is concerned, we would be coming back to this particular platform. But I would only say it with a bit of caution, in the sense that we will need to respect the way this entire industry may reorient itself. And already some esteemed members have spoken, so I'm not repeating. But the way I would like to add 1 or 2 points, the way we see this is that there will be a lot of social distancing. So maybe going forward, we would prefer to participate in exhibitions where the audience will be very focused, very limited. And that way we will get our audience also, but at the same time, members will not get into any other kind of complex situation. Secondly, as we know that earlier, the high potential cities were defined by the business potential. Now high potential is defined by the color, whether it is red, orange, green. It's a stark reality we need to face. So going forward, we may prefer to take part more in the zones which are green, so that the exhibition formats may become more micro. And from that point of view, I think as a consumer, we would like to have these kind of changes for us to certainly continue this journey with this wonderful platform of exhibitions. And as a service provider, yes, in fact, I think we now have a larger role to play. So what we are also doing as an industry of security and an organization is to see that how we can reorient ourselves around the health security platform and ensure that in any public forum, how do we actually have solutions by which people are able to keep the social distancing, people are able to remain isolated, different platforms are given to communicate, the sanitization is taken care of. So these are the kind of ways in which we are actually looking at this entire gamut of the exhibition industry. These were some of my top of mind comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagakarji. And yeah, green, you rightly said, the colors, red, green. We have to be really cautious and careful about things. And you are really wanting exhibitions to happen and exhibitions to take lead in near future. That's what we want to hear, and that's really encouraging. Now, coming to Mr. Ravindra Boratkar, or Ravi Boratkar, we normally call him as, and he's Managing Director, Asian Convention and Exposition Private Limited, the manager which operates Sitco Exhibition and Convention Center at Vashi in Navi Mumbai. He is also Managing Director of Active SciTech Communication Private Limited. Active is an organizing science and technology related conferences, trade shows, exhibitions, etc. He is President of the Maharashtra Economic Development Council, a leading policy research organization which has a mandate to act as a think tank for the overall economic development of Maharashtra, and chairman of the Central India Central Consumer Cooperative Society. Mr. Boratkar, you are leading in many fronts and you don different hats. I think you would be having real clarity of what's about to come. What are the government initiatives to revive the exhibition industry? When do you think Indian exhibition scenario will get back to on track?
Thank you, Ashok, for that wonderful introduction, and also greetings to all the distinguished panelists and my fellow attendees. Yes, Ashok rightly asked, See, any disruptions, whenever it has come, it has initially created a fear of psychosis, but I think over a period of time that has brought in a positive changes only. Because I was also connected with the newspaper industry earlier. I can tell you with the advent of television, it was feared that newspaper may lose its relevance. That's the D-Day for newspapers now. The industry will collapse. But we have seen over a period of time, maybe for a year or so, the newspaper industry was in trouble, but it has bounced back. It reoriented itself.
Right.
Same thing had happened if you go back a little earlier, just behind a couple of decades. So when computers came, I think every trade organization objected in India that computers may take our jobs. But we have seen that other computers have added new jobs. So I look at it even at this disruption as okay. As we have been very commonly calling it now, it will be a new normal now. So maybe this post-lockdown and once the COVID-19 is gone, with some minor changes, again, we'll bounce back to our business as usual. And here also, I would like to draw the attention to the incident of 9/11 or 26/11, after which we used to follow a lot of security protocol in all our public gatherings.
Right.
Before 26/11 or 9/11, we had never seen, that all the metal detectors at the hotels or before any meeting places, or there are scanning is happening for the baggages and other thing. But now we started following that, again all public meetings, hotels, everything was again normal. Similarly, we may have to introduce some new health hygiene protocol. But once we follow that health hygiene protocol, it will again be a new normal. And sometimes I also honestly feel that if we are not using technology to the fullest, maybe this kind of disruption helps it to adapt. Like, see, the way we are interacting now, this technology was available much before, but we never looked at it unless this lockdown happened.
Yeah.
After the lockdown, I think everyone who was initially was critical about using this, a Zoom meeting or other thing. Now it's normal for everybody. Everyone is coming to this platform. So similarly, with a new normal, the business will be back as usual. And I think we should also look at the country from where we inherited this problem. It's not clear now. Everybody says it's because of the China that we got to face this COVID-19. And see what's happening in China. Their business is back to normal. When I say normal, it's a new normal. They may not be functioning at 100% capacities,
Correct.
but most of the units are functioning to the best of their capacities now. They have reoriented their business slightly, but that is happening now. This, I think the reorientation will have to be seen from our industry perspective also. And when we talk about the exhibition and conferences, yes, exhibitions will certainly happen. Again, go to the example of China. See, their domestic tourism is back. The new term there is, they call it a revenge tourism. That their government is encouraging people to travel to the popular destinations within the country, and they carry a placard and take the pictures. I love my country, I love this place, like that. So they are promoting, like this way, they want people to travel. So maybe our government, our other associations has to take this some kind of initiative, and we will have to bounce back because this cannot continue for a long.
Right.
And with some new normal, some changes, what we have to think today is maybe what is that we have to do it in the exhibition industry. Well, our exhibition industry events, I think, will be more niche hereafter. The B2B events will be the one which I think can bounce back to normal very soon. And as we also, some of the distinguished speakers talked about the hybrid events, yes, that will also happen. That's where I say we were not using technology to the fullest. See, the technology was available earlier also, but maybe now we'll have to properly integrate it. So there will be some international participation can be through virtual this thing, and the domestic people will be available there for a personal meeting. B2B events may happen. There will be more effective, more productive events can happen with this. Consumer events will also happen, but then they will have to follow some new norms. Like there will have to be a traceability that everyone who has come there has to be registered. We should be able to trace him back. His email ID, his phone number, his whereabouts should be known.
Right.
As you know, initially, I remember, I don't know whether exactly it was after AIDS, this thing or something other. Then if you travel internationally, they used to have, you should have so and so. there are mandatory things about the health also. You have to disclose. So similarly, when they come to the exhibition, yes, along with the scanners now, you will also have to have the temperature detectors. Like we have started giving the mobile stands, to keep the mobile earlier for a security purpose. We used to give a token and keep their mobiles. So similarly, we may have to hand over them the masks. If someone has forgotten to bring his mask, maybe at a nominal charge, or maybe at a gratis, or maybe a sponsored one. So once I think we follow these new practices, the business will bounce back to normal. And I think maybe elsewhere, like we have seen that in China, in Wuhan itself, they have done that international auto fair. Also, some other parts, they have been announcing events maybe for the November or December. I think in India also 1 or 2 events for November have been announced. I see maybe from December onwards or November onwards, we'll see events happening in India also.
Right.
And in that also, when coming to this forum for the stall designers, maybe stall designers will also have to follow some new practices.
Yeah.
As we have made a standardization, the aisle has to be of 3 meters minimum for a security protocol, emergency exit and some other thing. Similarly, there can be a new norm as to decide, at least so that, the people visiting there keep a minimum distance. Then whosoever work for the stall erection, all those are most of the time are temporary workers. All of them never used to have, the traceability. And maybe that kind of something has to be there. Or if I think about the venue, like many venue operators have their listed vendors for catering, for other thing. So I never know. Maybe if there is need of empaneling few stallholders, stall directors, I mean to say, or they have to be recognized by their association. That so vendor is recognized by our association. It means that he keeps records of the people who works with him for that particular project.
Right.
So that tomorrow something happens, you can go back to him and ask him. नहीं तो ऐसा नहीं होगा मुझे पता नहीं यार कौन था वो तो उन्हें लेबर हायर किया था वो आया चला गया हमें मालूम नहीं.
Yeah.
So maybe as an association you can come forward.
Yes.
And make it mandatory to your members that they maintain this kind of records. Who have been working on this particular exhibition, their numbers, their contact details, their Aadhaar card number you should have, so that if the need be something wrong happens, you are able to place him. So I think if we keep our eyes and ears open, and if we together work out on measures, because ultimately, see, this is a coexistence. If the exhibition organizer is able to do his event, it's a business for the venue operator, it's the business for the stall directors,
right. Right.
And it's a chain of this thing. So all of us has to come together and see to it that how can we do it smoothly, taking care of all those concerns which the government may have, or which will also ensure the safety of each participant, be it a delegate, be it a speaker, be it an exhibitor, or a visitor. I think with this openness, with this consciousness, if we go and if we start events, I am sure it won't take a long before we come back to normalcy.
Correct.
Over to you, Ashok. Yeah.
Brodkarji, thank you. I think, as you said, it is only a matter of time when things will start. And you have mentioned something like October, November, some exhibition might take shape. Maybe the form and shape will be different, but it will start. A lot of discipline is required in whatever you have said. A lot of discipline is required to take part in exhibitions which are forthcoming. Otherwise, things would be not really in line with the thoughts.
I think that's why everyone is referring to it as a new normal. So new normal means you have to be disciplined, you have to be careful.
Correct. Thank you, Brodkarji. Now, coming to Mr. Satyendra Mehra, Group Director, Nurung Messe. Satyendra Mehra ji is a business-focused professional with over 2 decades of experience in aviation, business-to-business industries, in exhibitions, events, and media. His management skills and capabilities have undoubtedly manifested in long-standing relationships with business decision makers across corporates, trade associations, and various industry verticals. Satyendra, Nuremberg Messe is a German company, and in Germany, as we all hear, things are looking promising. They are going to start soon with certain safety protocol. And what do you think are the global initiative to drive the shows? And in that same context, what do you see it in India? How do you see it in India?
Good afternoon, Ashok, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to AESDAC for organizing such a wonderful, or giving a platform with such wonderful people and esteemed panelists for discussing the existing situation which we all are in. Coming to your point, so what you said, true. Like, we are a German company, but we are Indian at heart. That's very, to understand that. Yes, in Germany, things are opening up steadily and gradually, step by step. Because the reason being, they are managed to control the situation, which we are also facing in India. Now, fortunately, the population, it's much controlled to compare it with India per se, because India by geography itself is kind of very, very large, whereas Germany, in terms of size, is not that big. And moreover, the civic discipline there is much, much higher, like what we compare to India. As one of our esteemed speakers, they said, the point which I was saying, definitely a safety of people is going to be prime importance if you want to organize an exhibition. So even in Germany right now, the good news is a week back, the government in state of Bavaria, they have given a go-ahead to organize exhibition. So state of Bavaria primarily represents, comprises of two cities, which is Munich and Nuremberg.
Right.
So, but again, there are lots of safety protocols that needs to be followed, because definitely, human life is very, very important. Like, business is important, but not at the cost of human life. I think we all agree on that front. So now, definitely, Munich and Messi Nuremberg, which come out of Bavaria, they are going to talk with the government, in terms of safety protocols, processes, regulations, number of people who will be attending this exhibition, so that's all under discussions right now. And hopefully, I think in next couple of weeks, we will hear a very good announcement in terms of, which shows will be organized September onwards. In Nuremberg, we're looking at Galabau, our event, which is being organized. Like, the scheduled dates are from September 16th to 19th in Nuremberg. So, which we are planning to, organize that first show. But how it will be and what parameters it would be, what would be the size of the show, number of exhibitors, number of. So our team back in Nuremberg is working with the government to make sure, how we can organize a safe exhibition, because I think the being safe is very, very important. Same thing, I think the exhibit which has been organized, with the examples have been given back in Hunan, back in Korea, in Hong Kong. I think in all the exhibitions, safety protocols were followed. I think there were lots of safety and health measures were taken to make sure that people coming in, are not carrying the virus with them. And at the same time, I think lots of training will have to be given to all the stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, will be your exhibitors, your visitors, service partners like you, venues, with us as an organizer. So, training has to be kind of given, and each and every step, who is expected to do what. So I think there are different set of SOPs which have been already being created at various levels, and each of us has to follow those safety protocols which has been in sync with, the local statutory authorities and notifications, what has been issued. That's very, very important. Now, coming back to India, the thing is, right now, the virus is changing its course. The curve is changing. And the anticipation is the peak is going to be in June and July. So we have to wait and watch. If all goes well, now since the airline industry has started, and at the same time, when you want to organize an exhibition, hotels and restaurants and everything else is also equally important. At the same time, exhibitions venues has to be available. Right now, with the current situation, most of the exhibitions venue are housing quarantine facilities. So, if I'm right, these quarantine facilities will be there at least till end of August or till September. That's what the government notification is. So we really don't know as of now, because the lockdown which was there till tomorrow, the anticipation is in some of the cities it will extend for next couple of weeks, and where there is not much impact, life is coming back to normal. So so I think it's a wait and watch strategy for next, I think, a month and a half to 2 months. If all goes well, we will be looking at October, November, hypothetically, to start an exhibition, or maybe first quarter of next year. But again, it's too early to comment anything, but it all depends upon how the situation goes, and how people are able to adapt to the current situation, taking into consideration the health and safety norms and parameters. See, government is doing what they are supposed to do, but I think as a citizen, or as an individual, or as group of team, we also have to do, contribute to the society at one level, what best we can do to kind of encounter this particular situation where we all are in. So it's very, very equally important for all the stakeholders to come together and work towards this, if we really want to have the exhibition industry jump back. Because I think it's a no-brainer, because exhibition industry is not like any other mass gathering, different. It's a very controlled movement. We have very specific number of exhibiting companies and visitors visiting, so we can offer an exhibition in a controlled manner. Definitely not to the magnitude to start with what it was earlier. I'm quite sure, it will drop down, and it will all depends upon the kind of industry verticals we all are catering to, what parameters, what safety precautions we are taking on site. Because if we are going to communicate to all the stakeholders, okay, the exhibitions what we are organizing is safe from all the levels, the venue, exhibitors, so people would definitely want to attend.
Want to continue. Manoj, one important thing that you have said, training. So yes, all the stakeholders, whether it is from the fabrication side, or the team while the setup is happening, or the clients, visitors which are coming, exhibitors, they all need to be aligned with the same line of thought, that this is how we have to function, and that is very important. I wonder how that can be materialized, and what sort of requirement, or what sort of program can be made before the first exhibition starts.
Okay, to just answer this one, see, there are various industry associations and bodies, which are lobbying the government, and each of them have their own set of SOPs being created, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's agriculture, even as an exhibition industry, at various platforms, including the MICE and hospitality industries, they have shared their set of SOP. I'm 100% sure, when government comes up with their mandate, they will also kind of come with their set of SOPs and guidelines, which would be kind of in sync with, I think, with all of us as an industry has created.
Correct.
So I completely agree with you. I think with all the stakeholders, whether it's venue, organizers, service partners, everybody has to on a common understanding, and to follow one single SOP rather than having different variations of it. Correct. So I so that's where I said teamwork is important. We need to work as a team and as a family.
Perfect. I think we will look forward for that training, whether it is in any form, physical or virtual. We are looking forward to that.
Yeah, to start with, I think training would be virtual to start with. Yeah, but when the things gets eased out, then definitely, physical training would be there, because we all want to see each other.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mehra. Now coming to Mr. Sunil Govin, he's Senior Director, Bangalore International Exhibition Center. He is Senior Director, Head and Facility Management and Operations at the Bangalore International Exhibition Center. In his present role, he leads the client delivery from the venue operations perspective and drives the maintenance functions at BIEC. His portfolio includes security and safety, and he has been driving the vertical at BIEC for over a decade. In addition to this, he has been instrumental in many process improvements and innovations at the venue to ensure exhibitions operations continually improves. Mr. Govin, you are spearheading facility management and operation with standards in quality, safety and environment. You are the lead auditor. Given the current situation, what additional precautions, safety norms are planned in venue post-COVID?
Okay, good evening. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are, Crystal.
Okay, thank you. At the onset, it's a privilege being part of this panel, and thank you for having me here. I think I need to put some caveats on the on the table before I proceed. We need to understand that whatever I'm going to be sharing and whatever process and system improvements we are looking at can only happen when we as an industry and as collective have a collective approach. And that used word, I don't think people understand what a stakeholder is. We're all part of the industry and we have stake in this industry. So if you want the industry to revive, all of us need to take that burden together. Okay, that's the prima facie requirement. And then whatever we are planning to do now, okay, and like a lot of the panelists, my esteemed panelists have said that they're expecting, exhibitions to come back online somewhere in September or October. We are also of a similar opinion as from the venue perspective. And for those who don't know, we organize one of the largest exhibitions in India as part of our IMTMA vertical. And we also feel that September, October would be a realistic time that something would start in India. But then again, that's real crystal ball gazing. That's looking into the future. What will happen in September and October is anybody's guess. Okay, so having said that, what can we do as an industry to give confidence to all our stakeholders? When I'm saying visitors have to come, your exhibitors have to come, organizers need to come to the venue. And that can only happen when they are sure that they are taken care of, where all the compliance and conformity boxes have been ticked. What does that look like? Invariably, all of us, whether you're a service provider from the stall construction perspective, whether you are a site handling agency, whether you are the venue, whether you're the organizer, all of us need to relook at our process and systems from a COVID perspective. There is no way out from that perspective. So that's what we've been doing. Logically speaking, we've been revamping all our processes. We've been taking apart our processes and saying that, okay, from a COVID perspective, what do we do? One of the things, and Satyendra touched on it briefly, is that we need to communicate and we need to create awareness among all the stakeholder fraternity. Meaning, this can do social distancing. If you don't, if you don't wear masks, if you don't follow the compliances set by the respective governments, whether it's the state or the central, they will shut you down. There is no two ways about it. Health and safety is going to be something that's going to be flagged at the highest levels. Okay, so we have to be very sure. So it is not my responsibility or the organizer's responsibility or some other stakeholders' responsibility. It is our collective responsibility. One person fails in that chain, the government machinery will come down and close you down. There is no two ways about it. So we have to get that, and that particular message need to trickle down to the lowest denominator. When I'm saying the lowest denominator, the guy at the floor who is poking that keel into that piece of wood, he has to know that if he doesn't follow the health and safety norms, gone. Not only he will take everybody down the line away. That's very clear about it. We've been also doing many of the things that Sajid was saying. We would be doing thermal, the entry point, extra paramedic on site to take care of these things. And one of the things that we feel that needs to be done, and this again a takeaway from what IEA has been doing, is have special teams with across stakeholders. That is, people from the service providers, people from the venue, people from the organizing team. A special team going around the venue and the show days to ensure stakeholders adhere to all the safety norms, whether it is social distancing, wearing PPEs, whatever. PPE is personal protection equipment, which means masks. They have to do that. And why I'm saying a core team of all these stakeholders is because then the responsibility is for everybody. Otherwise, it's like either the venue or the organizer is responsible. No, we are not the people responsible. Like I said at the very beginning, we are all collectively responsible for this. Again, many people have said we should have sanitizers and this, that. I don't want to get into that. That's a standard norm nowadays. I think that's a new norm. If I say I'm giving a sanitizer at the exit, people will say, so So that's the new norm. So I don't want to get into it. But definitely the things that will change is sanitization of the venue after every day of the show. After the show gets over on the night, sanitize the entire hall and keep it ready for the next day, so that when you come the next day, the halls are sanitized and we are getting a fresh start. Those are the things that the venue would be doing. And some of the things which, since we are talking about this stall builder eco space specifically in this particular this thing, some of the things that the stall builders can look at is that you also have to be very clear that if people in your team have certain symptomatic cases or these kind of challenges are there, tell them to sit at home. Don't bring them to the thing. I know this is going to be a commercial and an operational challenge. There's no doubt about it. I'm the last person because I'm an operations guy, so I know what happens. If 10 people don't show up, your show will stop. But then this is the new norm that you need to work with. Ensure that all the staff follow the rules. That when we communicate rules, the communication has to be, like I said, down to the guy who is on the floor. Mask should be compulsory. And I also feel, and this was spoken by one of the other panelists also, maximum work should happen off-site. And things should be modular, things should be brought on-site, and minimum work should be on-site so that it reduces time, manpower. Hence, doing social distancing and other safety parameters is much easier, and therefore you minimize risk. And one thing which I also feel is, as a stall constructor, your time to deliver will also get squeezed. Thereby, I feel in the long run, you will be making it will be much more economical rather than now. And I know I'm not going to make any statements here, which is going to be stall builder community. But then that needs to be done. Just to share with you one initiative that we did as part of our show is that we started what is known as the Eco Design Stall Awards, and we've been doing it for the last 3 years, which basically talks about reuse, recycle, reduce, whatever the 3 R's of sustainability. And we've been awarding stalls which are following the highest forms of sustainability. And we've been trying to, as we move forward, we would even certify stall builders, saying that as far as our show is concerned, you are certified and we have a separate branding, we give it to them, and we give them 3 or 4 days of collateral, marketing collateral in our, as part of our show. So these are the things that we do, and we want to work with all the stall constructors to get the best things out. And so that's basically broadly what are the things that we are doing from a BIEC and from a organizer perspective. Over to you, Ashok.
Yeah, Govindji, those were the points which Mr. Mehra has also mentioned, and the training and all is definitely required. And yes, we as a stall, from the stall builder fraternity, we are also ready to transform and adapt. So we are just identifying the lines that are set, and we will follow, because really, as you said, it is everyone's responsibility, not only the venue owner or any particular stakeholder. Thank you very much, Sunilji. Now, I will come to Mr. Ramesh Babu, who is the founder and managing director of Seashell Group of Companies, a company engaged in shipping and cross-border global trade. The firm executed project shipments for large blue-chip companies internationally, adhering to international standards of service. The company is having 25 branch offices across India and a worldwide agency network. Under its leadership, the company is being awarded as fastest growing logistic brand of the year 2016 by Skill India, also being nominated as Best Project and Heavy Lift Mover and Best CHA for 2 consecutive years by MALA. Mr. Ramesh Babu, now after you have heard Mr. Sunil and Mr. Satyendra, you must have got certain confidence, right, of what's going to happen and how things will move. Now, as we understand that COVID has put a major setback also on logistics industry. How much can an exhibition help logistics industry to get revived?
Yeah, thanks Ashok, and thanks AESDAC and Mr. Vibhash for having me here. So I'm actually on the other side of, hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So I'm actually on the other side of the trade, like, as an exhibitor and part of the, the corporate and interacting the other side of it. So COVID has definitely, I will try to answer the first one. There is no one who can say like the COVID has not impacted other than pharmaceutical and essential. So COVID has impacted everyone. So which includes logistics, even though Government of India has declared logistics and shipping and port handling as essential. So, but physical movement of cargo is definitely an important thing. And lockdown 1 and lockdown 2 were, seriously being implemented, and thereafter it is a new thing to the environment, ecosystem, and all that. So logistics is definitely seriously been affected. And even now we have, because after Stamik trains have been initiated from all the urban cities, and there have been migrant laborers have been allowed or been facilitated to go back to their native places. So you still have a big challenge of labor associated or services associated kind of things. So logistics is definitely one of that, and handling inside the port is definitely an industry which is impacted with that. But having said that, we also are at the moment in the phase with COVID. So now everyone understood it is not no more like earlier phase, we are going to have certain time lockdown and we are going to see some improvement. So I still remember it was in February, end of February, we were having one big exhibition. It was in Mumbai. And that time it was COVID seriously impacting in China. Then we had back-to-back exhibitions. One was in Dubai, another one in India. So we were worried, the one in India is related to Dubai. So there were some cases which has become positive, the people who have attended that exhibition and then coming back. But still we were committed. We had beautiful kind of a design of stalls and ensuring that, we have a hospitality fullest to the extent that we spend good time, energies, and resources to see that welcoming them is as good as welcoming them to our office. So we see that is being spent. So all the fabricators and stall designers, and so much of importance is being given all the time. But when you say like with COVID, what is the kind of situation? Yes, with COVID, the most important factor is definitely health safety, and health safety of as an exhibitor, health safety of the people who have been going to represent, and as an exhibit, definitely health safety of the people who are in that ecosystem, whom we are going to interact with, and how is the precautions Mr. Sunil mentioned, how is that entry exits are maintained, how it is being designed, how big is that, how large the population is going to be. These are all the factors which is going to impact. So now what I can definitely mention at this moment, with COVID, immediately, if you ask me, whether exhibitions, attendance will be given more importance than the safety and security, I say immediately no. It takes security, health and safety is going to be the paramount part. But when you look at going forward, marketing is the basic thing for any corporate, right? So exhibition and conferences are one of the key activities of networking and exchange of information, exchange of knowledge, exchange of a product, and see that you reach out to the people who are not aware of this, of your either your service, your product, or you try to go to a market and try to see that whether my kind of quality of products suits to that market and all. So marketing is going to be there forever. So there's no doubt of the future of the industry. The future of industry of exhibitions and the conferences will always be there, big, and going to be having in a large scale moving forward. Yes, virtual kind of a networking will only enhance that, maybe supports that, because no business can happen without personal relationship, and touch and feel is definitely a need for a product or a person or the the chemistry can only be properly understood unless and until you don't get into yourself and understand how are you feeling about it. So that's going to be there. But if you ask me how much time it may take, or what is the budgets which whether the corporates are like the corporate like us, how much we are going to spend, allocate, are we going to look at it? Look, yes, immediately, yes, we may not be looking at the possibility of looking at budgeting it now. The reason being is we as a corporate, not only as many of the corporates will definitely look at minimizing the very fixed cost at this moment to see that the turmoil, because so long as we are living in COVID and doing business with COVID and not having vaccine, so this is going to be a situation like how do we see that the business, the nose is above the water and see that we survive this turmoil. And another issue is like, I could see there is a good evolution, happening. So with COVID, post COVID, you will definitely see a good change. I presume like there is a good change which is going to happen in corporate world. Now I could see like which one of the change is not favorable to our industry. Like from globalization, it is going to be a localization, not globalization to patriotic being a nationalization, but whereas with the districts and localized and red, green and orange, it is completely a localization. But so definitely you are going to see a change and shift of the economy, which used to be driven by to a consumer driven, which will be a consumption driven. So you will see so much of business which will be definitely happening in India, which will be because you have so big population and people are, adaptable. And if governments of the day can handle COVID properly, I definitely see there is a good boom in consumption, and the industries internationally, instead of Indian manufacturers going abroad and trying to make a show, you will have majority of abroad organizations coming to global organization coming to India for a consumption point of view. So you will you may have, provided if the health and safety is being taken care. So we'll have to wait and see how it is going to be handled. Another issue immediately I can see is there is an economy which is being divided now. One is an urban economy and another is a rural economy. So when you see most of the red and 80% of the COVID at the moment, I predict what will happen in the going forward. At the moment, you see the 80% of the severity is lying in the urban cities. So major chunk of the thing is going to be under the pain, stress is going to be in urban, and that's the reason. And we are having the infrastructure is also available in urban cities for the exhibition. So exhibitions which are of large scales are at the moment are utilized to have that, like we have a quarantine and isolation facilities in those exhibition centers. So you will have a situation of even the malls have been closed. You will have a rural economy coming faster. So you will have an exhibition shifting it to rural economy quicker. Maybe you'll have a fabrication kind of a stall aspect, designing and all maybe happening. Like you may also have some kind of a trade malls which will happen, and some kind of exhibition of the final end product exhibitions also may be happening at tier 2, tier 3 cities going forward. I don't know how far that will be helpful for your specific, but I can see there is going to be a divide between an urban as well as the rural economy. And the government of the day is also very clear. So there is the reason. So they are very well demarked, and they want the rural economy, which is a consumption economy, to do very well and to do it in a right manner, so that rural economy will always sustain in a longer run, and rural economy will always have a demand, creation of the demand for the product. So in that perspective, temporarily till you have with COVID, you have another economy where things can be taken care, and then you will have to wait for corporates to gear up and correct their things and set, so that they will take off.
Right.
And then you will have a situation to do. So this, in my perspective, it is temporary, and you will be having a mix of virtual as well as the physical, but physical cannot replace the virtual. Virtual will always enhance the physical relationship, so that the corporate will always wanted to have a look and touch and feel, and then take it up. Marketing will always be remaining for the product, so the marketing cannot be compromised for any corporates. These are my
Perfect. Mr. Ramesh, you have almost answered whatever I wanted to ask you later also. So you have touched all the points, whether it is on the virtual aspect of it, or basically you are hinting towards a big transformations between urban, rural, and how things will move. And you have also mentioned that to start with, exhibitors would be a little conservative as far as the budgets are concerned. Of course, that was expected. And that is what even we think about. So thank you, Ramesh ji. Just to brief you about, in a nutshell, about our association, we are not only an association with Mumbai specific, we are opening chapters in different parts of India. Idea is to become a contact point for the organizers and venue providers, so that we can pass on the message further down to our people, and it will be a smooth communication channel that way. And so many challenges can then be solved a bit by bit and piece by piece scenario. So we have lot to learn, we have lot to adapt, we have lot to discuss with all the stakeholders. And the whole idea of the association is soon we will be a country where exhibitions are organized in where best practices of exhibitions are used, like as global standards are concerned. We at AESDAC are proud to be from India, and a country from where exhibitors go all across the globe to participate in shows. Hence, we thought it is worthwhile to talk to our global friends and get their view on the scenario across the globe. Considering this, AESDAC is inviting speakers from our fraternity across the globe to present their views in a webinar which we will organize next week. Details of this webinar will be published after the speakers and timings are concerned. Basically, people from our fraternity, whether it's from any part of the world, maybe we have listed around 12 countries, and people from our part of the fraternity will be part of this webinar, and we will be discussing their way of working, their culture, their steps which they are taking, and in a way we will share information, learn, and adapt in the coming future. So panelists, thank you very much. As I say, that next wave of growth is definitely innovation, and a lot of possibilities can be tapped. We are ready to learn and transform, adapt best practices from across the world, and imbibe it in our culture. Consider us as your partner. We would like to grow with you. A lot of synergies to be explored. Thank you very much for your participation, and many thanks for the panelists. Thank you all, and all the very best. Thanks for coming.